All right, guys, we're talking about Travis Etienne tonight. As always, let's set a little baseline by going over some trades. So, are you doing Travis Etienne or Garrett Wilson and a projected late 23 first?
Oh, you're giving me a pick with Garrett Wilson to just give you Travis Etienne? Gone. He's gone, bro. All yours. Send that offer, please.
Yeah, I mean, who are your co-hosts here, Clay? You're giving us a receiver that was a first-round pick that's been decent and a first-round pick for a running back? Yeah, give me the package.
Travis Etienne or Justin Fields in a super flex?
Justin Fields.
I'd lean Fields, but I also wonder, if I can get a first plus for Etienne, you could argue his trade value might be a little bit higher. But yeah, I think I would lean Fields, but that's close. That's a fair deal. I actually see a lot of people would say Fields just because the quarterback issue.
And Justin Fields has been, what's the top 10 quarterback for 4 weeks in a row now? 3 weeks in a row? I don't know. It's been a long time.
Are you going Travis Etienne or a late 23 first and a 24 first?
See, it's more interesting if you put it on me if it's just one of those picks. If it's two picks, I'm out.
Picks.
Like just about any running back, I'd be out for 2 firsts.
Adios.
Yeah, picks.
Etienne or Jamison Williams and a projected early 23 second?
Package.
Ooh, I'm going to disagree with Scott here. I'll have to take ETN because I think I could do better than Jamison in a second. But also, I can actually use ETN right now. Is Jamison Williams ever going to play football again? I haven't heard anything about him.
Sounds like he's going to be out another month, and then
Great.
Unfortunately, are the 1 in 10 Lions going to play him?
Great.
You think they want to get him on the field if he's capable? They want to get him some experience, but yeah, I think that's looking like a potential whiff for year one. So I can see it if you can get something different for ETN. I understand it. That feels like you're sacrificing a little bit of you're sacrificing a little bit of value there, and you're probably operating under being scared of running backs, every one of them expiring. So you're taking what you can. So yeah, I think I'm a little more on the fence on that one. The more that you think about it.
ETN feels like, for all the people that yell at us when we're like, hey, trade your running backs when they're injured, he feels like the counter argument, right? I'm surprised more people haven't just thrown ETN in our face and just been like, here's your Breece Hall, trade Breece Hall immediately, trade when it goes the other way, because he is the one outlier out of the 87 running backs that have gotten injured over the last 3 years.
Why ETN over Jonathan Taylor, or why Jonathan Taylor over ETN?
Well, I wouldn't take Jonathan Taylor over ETN right now.
And that's the thing, is like you can argue ETN is a sell, but he's also the RB1 in Dynasty at the same time. So it's this weird conundrum where it's not even about ETN. It's just about the position in general. If there's ever one that rises to like this level of value where it's, he's worth 2 firsts plus, or he's worth a first plus a guy like Garrett Wilson, you kind of just take it, and then you forget about the name, and you just wait for the name to kind of correct itself because someone else is going to occupy that slot. So it's very interesting with the timing of this. Maybe there's some theory into how to play running backs when they get to the ETN level. 5 weeks ago, Travis Etienne was buried. People were calling him a bust because James Robinson was playing over him. Ken Walker was an afterthought. And now you wake up right now and you're going, those literally might be the RB1 and 2 in Dynasty. And not a lot of people would argue with it. And I don't think a lot of people, if you sent them, I sent Jonathan Taylor for Ken Walker and a 24-second last week. And the guy goes, I'm good straight up. Just flat out.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah. He goes, I'd rather have Ken Walker. He goes, why would I add a second when I can start both of them in my lineup just the same? It's a point per carry league. He says they're probably going to get the same amount of carries. Who cares? What's the difference? He's like, why would I give up the extra second? And he had to pay his dues 2 years out. He goes, it makes no sense. And I didn't have a rebuttal. I wouldn't pay 2 years out dues and trade a second to move my Kenneth Walker for Jonathan Taylor. That's just where we're at with running backs. It's fickle. It's week to week.
Running backs are like day trading, and you should be a little more pragmatic, isn't the word I'm looking for, but a little more measured with wide receivers, right? Drake London has 4 bad weeks. You shouldn't all of a sudden go, can I trade him for Garrett Wilson plus? Like that, I can see how that goes bad quickly. But every time one of these running backs gets to the top of the mountaintop, I'm going, all right, time to go trade him now, just like I did with Ken Walker last week. And that's what I'll be trying to do with ETN this week. And people will say, oh, well, do you ever win? Well, yeah, because I get a running back that's going to produce at 80% of that level and then get a first back and then, rinse and repeat. And then my wide receivers are usually bonkers. And then my running backs are good enough for you, Tik Tok.
Travis Etienne or Khalil Herbert, a 24 first and 24 second.
Process says consider the picks.
Process says consider the picks.
Process says
The process
consider the
says
picks.
take
And
the picks.
Exactly. It's some of these deals. My head is always going to go towards process. Give me the package of picks plus a player. The only drawback I'm sitting here thinking is there more meat on the bone for ETN's value to continue to rise? Yet it feels like any swoop moment he could have 2 bad games, and then you're going, okay, that type of deal is off the table. So it really is a fickle thing. We used to operate this way in like the dead zone, some of the lower end running backs, but now we're sitting here talking about RB1, RB2, RB flick them out, flip them every single week, regardless of their pedigree or anything like that. So yeah, I think take the package. If you think Khalil Herbert is a guy that you can start the rest of the year, why not?
Yeah, I don't believe in Khalil Herbert, even though he has actually. I just looked at the stats today. He's got more rushing yards than David Montgomery this year, and he just played a ton of snaps, and I don't know why.
He's top 15 in the league in rushing yards, and you're sitting there going like, really? He's not even a starter. So yeah, I mean, you just played him every week. You probably ended up okay.
Thing is, you could slide Khalil Herbert in there, and I bet you, if you really, really wanted to, you could trade a 24 first for Ramondre Stevenson, right? And then would you feel better with Ramondre Stevenson and Khalil Herbert than Travis Etienne? Probably. I think I might have to take it too. It's hard to pull the trigger on that though, like Scott said, because it definitely feels like I can do better. Like it's probably like I would shop around the rest of my league first and see what I could do.
Travis Etienne or Ramondre Stevenson and Brandon Ayuk?
I'll go Etienne only because Brandon Ayuk is he's dead about this time next week when Debo gets back.
I don't necessarily agree with Shane on that. I actually think Brandon Ayuk's very good. There's a chance he's been just better than Debo. But he's also in that range of wide receivers are kind of flat in that tier. So you probably can't flip Ayuk for a first. So if you inserted a first in there, somehow you could flip Ayuk for a 24 first. 24 first, Ramondre. Etienne, we'd take the package. So it really comes down to, can you do the extra work? Does your league have the market? Because I do think there's a market for Ayuk in that offense to potentially get a 24 first. But I'd probably lean the package if there's an active league. If not, then I probably just take Etienne and look for something different.
If you're rebuilding, would you try to acquire Travis Etienne?
I'll let Shane take that. What do we tell every rebuilding team on a roster review? If you're not contending this year, get rid of every running back.
You get a running back next year. You'll be all right. There's always running backs. Like, here's the beautiful thing. There's always going to be running backs available if you really want them. Might you have to pay a little more next year? Yeah, but you know what? Don't pay for Travis Etienne next year. Or pay for Travis Etienne in week 2 when James Robinson and him are splitting touches. And you're like, I can't believe this is happening. Or Ramondre Stevenson prior to the takeover from Damian Harris. If you can't pull that off, well, guess what? Then go pay up. I paid up for CMC in a league. I gave up Brandon Ayuk in the 24 first. It's against my process. It's against my beliefs, religious and otherwise. But I did it because, I think I have an excellent shot at a title. So I'm going to do it and see what happens. So you can always get a running back. There's going to be a running back on somebody's roster that you can trade for, usually 5 or 6 of them.
Tyreek Hill and Travis Etienne or Justin Jefferson?
Ooh. I mean, you look at Tyreek's numbers, they're essentially the same as Cooper Kupp's last year. Like, his season is like eerily similar. Yeah. And I don't necessarily know if it slows down. So I know Shane is against, guys that are going to be 29 like Tyreek Hill. But I mean, if someone took that deal, I wouldn't be like, you're crazy, because there's definitely some production for them. So I couldn't argue with it.
I think I would have to take Hill and Etienne. I don't think I could legally turn that down. I would feel bad about myself. I wouldn't feel great about making the trade and come the summer when I'm trying to trade. And by the summer, I mean February, when I'm trying to trade Tyreek Hill and I can't, I'll be upset about it. But yeah, just a pure production standpoint that I can get from those 2 players the rest of this season and likely next season, assuming Etienne stays healthy, is probably actually worth it.
Under what circumstances would you be buying Etienne?
That's a good question, because I can't think of many. The only ones I can think of would be if I am eyeing a running back with a pick next year and I'm in the midst of contending. I just got an offer tonight. I send the 101 and the 102 for Dak Prescott and Travis Etienne, and I'm a contender. I turned it down. I basically said that 101, and it's a point per carry league. I said that 101. I mean, it's worth more than Dak, I think. And ETN in the 102, a wash. He also asked for Najee Harris in the trade, which I don't really care about, but in a point per carry league, that's enough for me to be like, I'm just throwing him in. And even in point per carry, he's probably worth a late first, early second-ish range. So really what I should try to do is I should go back with the 102. It's like a 102 or a 103, guaranteed. I should go back with that and see if I can get ETN. But I guarantee the person's going to be like, no, I need more than the 102 next year for ETN, because they're probably looking at it as like a neutral swap. Yep. They're not contending. So, that might be the counter. But I think the only way I buy him is if I can buy him and get rid of some older risk and do it at a cheap price. Can I pivot up from like Nick Chubb in a third or something like that and get ETN? Something super cheap like that. But that's it. Like I really, honestly, am looking to go the other way. Like if I can buy a Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry or someone like that and net an extra pick, like I'm doing that for any of these running backs in the top. And I'll just hedge my bets on like future production. I don't care about production 2 years down the road. I'm pretty confident Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry are going to produce next year as long as they're healthy. And I'm not worried about, 2 years down the road. So
go trade your Breece Hall straight up for Travis Etienne.
I mean, I think that gets laughed at this point.
No. Breece Hall.
Laughed at.
No, you're crazy. Breece Hall was still the running back one. Travis Etienne is not the running back one in Dynasty.
I don't think you have a shot at that.
Oh, I think you're wrong, sir.
You think you're shaking your head, Clay? You don't think you get ETN for Breece Hall, do you?
Not a chance. One guy has 2 ACLs that are intact.
All right. Well, then tell you what, if you're trying to move off of ETN, here's a deal. Trade ETN for Breece Hall plus, apparently. To Scott and Clay.
No, I don't think Breece Hall, and this is what we talked about on the Breece Hall video. Like, you had to act right away. Other people are going to step up when he's not there, and recency bias is just going to make it really, really hard for you to get the same value for Breece Hall going forward. Like, it's just not going to happen.
Shane, under what circumstances are you buying Travis Etienne?
We're approaching November, right? It's November 1st. I'm in it's okay to buy running back season. Do I want to do it? Do I feel good about it? Do I regret it as soon as I do it? Yes. But I can rationalize trading for a running back in any situation where I'm a top 5 team, top 6 team. I'm assuming all 6 make the playoffs. Like, I literally any of those cases I can do it. If I have the draft capital, preferably I'd like to do it with some like wide receivers that people like Scott, like Ayuk. Like, here, you can have him. Let me give you Ayuk, and let me give you another Brandon Ayuk, and let me get your running back because your team sucks this year and you need wide receivers to build for their long term. And meanwhile, I'm just giving you, replaceable player 1 and replaceable player 2. I'd prefer not to do draft assets because, I'm greedy and I hoard those, but if I have to, I will. So literally anything 1 through 6. This is where it's in season. Things are different. Now you have a chance to actually make the playoffs, win money, beat people in your league and make fun of them. Preferably, like very good friends. That's what you want to do. Make them feel bad about themselves.